So, Marie, what's been going on with you lately?
Oh, lots of stuff. I got a new client, although I won't be able to do his haunting investigation. I referred him to a friend in UPI. He's from Florida, and I'm stuck up here in the lovely state of Washington. A lot of people seem to find me on the internet from lots of different places, and it always amazes me that people find me just when they need someone who will understand their particular situation. Going on from that, of course, my interview for the Beyond Natural show will be airing November 23rd at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is cool. I can't wait to see that one. I don't know how it turned out. Usually I get to preview it first, but haven't had a chance to, so I'll be looking forward for that one. And I'm inviting everybody to come along and watch it. I'll be there chatting on the side chat, so they'll have a chance to talk to me there too. I'm doing a Samhain ritual this Sunday night on my Maighreads site, or you can also go through Wicca, Reiki, and more to find out the information. And I will be featuring a seance, so I'll be contacting any passed away loved ones that you might want to talk to. So far I've only got 2 people confirmed that will be there, so there's still plenty of room. And if you plan on coming, it's an online chat, so be sure to take out a good size of time that you can sit there on chat for me to help you with talking to your loved ones during this ritual. Well, that's pretty much about it so far. I would like to read a scary story that I wrote some years ago about my dear friend Brad Evans, who passed away about 5 years ago. We were high school chums, and through the miracle of the internet, I started getting in contact with my friends again, finding all my old friends from high school and such. And not too long after we got in contact, this poor guy passed away. I wrote this story to send to his parents in sort of a memorial for my friend, because I couldn't be there at his funeral and all that. So here we go. It's called Bats in the Graveyard. Scary. When I first met Brad, we were both taking summer school. Me because I had to take it to graduate, and him just because he wanted to do the summer school musical, which was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. It was a fun summer, I must say. Bradley got the part of Charlie Brown, and Mr. D, the director, decided to split cast it so that more of the class would have more time on stage. So dear Cindy Erkenbrecher and I shared the part of Lucy Van Pelt. Man, it sure was a real fun summer. And Shane Petrie played the part of Snoopy, the big star of the show. And his brother Bruce was my lioness, and Helen Milton played the part of the little red-haired girl. Mr. Bradley Evans, being the troublemaker that he was always saying snotty things about Cindy whenever she'd sing. You know, she didn't have the most lilting voice, but what she did have was the spirit to stand up there and do the song. I admit I myself giggled when he would make remarks, being a bit of a snot myself. Thank goodness that Cindy was a good sport about it all. Yeah, she was a gal with lots of class and dignity, even at the age of 17. The last day of the show was the crew party. After we all finished, the last ever performance of Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, to be done by the aforesaid cast, we went to the city graveyard. Now, I can't say exactly why we decided that would be a good place to go, but that's where we went. I got to ride in Cindy's car all the way there. It was a sweet ride. Her dad owned a local car dealership, and she had the latest model. It was a white Cadillac with door-to-door plush carpeting, and the seats were real leather. It was really nice. Anyway, we walked around the old graveyard reading some of the names of the tombstones. I remember laughing at one name, Peter Fry. I've heard of a French fry, a fish fry, and even a stir fry, but a Peter Fry, that sounds a little painful. Of course, nobody else thought it was funny except me and Brad. We both liked bawdy humor at the time in our lives and thought the rest of the kids were L7 squares. Well, whatever. We thought it was funny. Then Brad spotted a mausoleum. "Hey!" he exclaimed, "a tomb!" Then we proceeded to climb to the top, and I was not far behind, of course. Bradley was always trying to make things fun for himself as well as for others. And I knew where Bradley Evans was, fun couldn't be far behind. We climbed atop the tomb, and soon Bruce and Helen joined us, and I think maybe Cindy. Wow, this was way over 30 years ago, and my memory of high school is usually pretty clear, but this instance seems to be a little foggy. Maybe that's because I was really scared out of my freaking mind, but I wouldn't have wanted anyone to know that. Anyway, we were on top of this mausoleum thing in a very scary old graveyard when Brad looks at me. You know, kind of expecting something like a scary story. Well, he had set the scene, and I guess he thought it was my chance to, do one of my scary stories that I was always trying to get people to listen to. Okay, here it goes. There's this extremely old cemetery in Martinez where I used to live. It was started back in the 1800s, I think, and there are lots of tall monuments and tombs, just like this one. Well, one hot summer night, not much different from tonight, some friends and I decided to take a ride to the old place and just see what would happen. There was an old shack across the road from the graveyard where it was said the White Witch lived. Anyway, it was all pretty scary to me and my friends, but we really didn't want each other to know that and be branded cowards. Just after we parked the car, we heard a god-awful howling sound. It was a high-pitched, almost a squeal. But we didn't let the horrid noise deter us from entering the cemetery. We walked around a bit until our eyes became accustomed to the night's dim light. Stretch, the guy that drove the car, walked up to a very large tomb and announced, "Let's see what's inside." Well, me and my best friend Ruby and I walked up slowly behind him while holding each other in fright. We responded, "Sure, okay, that sounds cool," trying desperately not to sound as if we were both frightened out of our little teenage girl minds, because we were. He then proceeded to take out a bolt cutter from a black bag he had brought along with him. It was at that point that I got my first hint that he may have planned this, but I was too horribly scared to call him on it. Then suddenly there was a loud snapping noise, followed by a loud creak of the tomb door being opened. Then a fluttering sound of what sounded like 1,000 wings out of the front of the tomb. Flew out a black mass of winged creatures, chirping and squealing as they flew into the dark night. And with that, I stood up to dramatize the story, and as I did, I brushed my arm against a nearby tree where its sleeping occupant frantically flew over Brad's head. He screamed and squealed like a little girl. Bats! 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 They're trying to suck my blood! Well, needless to say, we all jumped off the monument to death and started to follow Brad's example. As I hit the ground, I saw a small bird's nest lying there and realized that the frightened creature had only been a sleeping sparrow. With the help of Bruce, I placed the nest carefully back into the niche of the tree. I wanted to explain to the frightened group what had happened, but most of them had already left, except for Brad, Bruce, and me. Bruce and I went to the car, and we had trouble convincing Brad to open the doors, but eventually he did, and we all drove home in virtual silence. Just before we reached Brad's house, I tried to explain what had happened. I don't ever want to hear about this night again. So we never spoke of that night from that time to this. I have from time to time pondered it in my memory. It always gives me a bit of a frightened giggle. It brings a smile to my heart to remember my dear high school chum, Bradley Evans. He shall be missed.
Hey, do you have any more poems or anything you'd like to add?
Oh yeah, you know, there is one poem that I wrote some time back. I'd like to dedicate this to my beloved husband. He insisted one year that I was going to write him a love poem for Valentine's Day, so this is the one he got. I titled it, Wounds. They say that time heals all wounds. I can't believe that's true, for I'll be taking to my tomb my wounds from loving you. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and if you have any remarks you'd like to leave, please leave them below. And don't forget to join me on any one of my sites, Reiki, Wicca, Reiki and more, Maggieland, or even come and see me at Healing Wings. Bright blessings to you all. Blessed be.